Hi there, I'm Dr. Basha P. Jordan Jr., the pastor and founder of Hope Alive Outreach. And we're here today bringing a message of hope. I didn't say dope, I said hope. That's right. H-O-P-E, not the D-O-P-E. We're bringing a message of hope to persons who suffer from the disease of addiction, primarily drugs and alcohol. You know that we've been doing this now for about almost 2 years. And we do hope and pray that those of you all who are listening, you will, if you have a friend, a relative, a neighbor, someone close to you who suffers from the disease of addiction to drugs and alcohol, tell them to stay tuned. That the Hope Doctor is on the air right now. We can be heard on our Facebook page, which is hopealiveoutreach.org. That's hopealiveoutreach.org. We can also be heard on YouTube at the same call letters, Hope Alive Outreach. And so those of you all who are listening by way of either one of these particular social media, if you have a comment or a question, then you can put it right in the chat and we'll try our best to answer that. We have 2 books that I've written. The first book was The Pipe and the Pulpit, and the second book that we have is called Beyond the Pipe and the Pulpit. So both of these books are dealing with addiction, and the second book, Beyond the Pipe and the Pulpit, just came out about a month ago. And so if you'd like to get one of those books, either one of them, The Pipe and the Pulpit normally is $15, and the Pipe and the Pulpit is normally $11.95. Beyond the Pipe and the Pulpit is $15, but this month we're running a special. So if you go to our website, you can get both of them for $20. However, if you want to go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble, you have to pay the regular price. But anyhow, we're here. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we're doing this because my main purpose is to save lives. So, but if you'd like to give a donation to our outreach, then you can donate to one of the prompts that are on the screen, Givelify, Cash App, or you might want to just make a check out to Hope Alive Outreach. You can use major credit cards, or you can Cash App the $, the Hope Doctor. All of our funds that we receive and donations that we receive go right back into our outreach to help persons who suffer from the disease of addiction. I want to welcome our guests right now. Our guests today, we have Kat, who is from St. Petersburg, Florida. Hi, Kat. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Okay. And also we have from North Carolina, we got Les. How you doing, Les?
Hey, Dr. Boss, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Now, where are you right now in North Carolina, Les?
I'm in Charlotte.
Charlotte. Are you sure you're right in Charlotte, or are you outside of Charlotte in a little
No, I'm in the Charlotte city limits.
Okay, Charlotte city limits. Okay. I thought maybe you might have been near Charlotte in a little town that we've never heard of. You just sound from Charlotte.
Yeah, that's how we do it, but
All right,
I have to be within the city limits.
That's right. And we also have our co-host, Nicole, who is right here in St. Pete. Hi, Nicole. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. Great. Great to have you. Today, we're going to be talking about the fifth step. And in the process of us talking about the fifth step, I want us first of all to realize that our broadcast, my main concern is saving lives, and the number of Americans, according to the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, it says that overdose deaths among Americans 55 and over have risen by 20%. To over 21,000 in 2020. This group has accounted for about 24% of all overdose deaths since 2019. I think that all of us here who are on the broadcast are over 55, except for the one, the only, Nicole. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Also, overdose deaths were up for all age groups during the pandemic. The National Center for Health Statistics recorded more than 100,000 deaths due to overdoses from April 2020 to April 2021. But the latest statistic that I have heard is that over 101,000 individuals overdosed in 2021 alone. And so we do hope and pray that our broadcast here, the Hope Doctor Speaks, will not only give information to individuals who suffer from the disease of addiction, but will also save lives. I'm going to just look here at step 6 before we get into our discussion. Look at step 5, and just as a backdrop, it says, step 5 says, we admit it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. It says the 5th step is key to freedom. It allows us to live clean in the present. Sharing the exact nature of our wrongs sets us free to live. We know that the 5th step is preceded by the 4th step, which talks about we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. And so tonight, we're not going to talk about anyone's personal morals unless they just decide that they just want to just briefly discuss it because it might have some influence on what we're talking about. But our whole idea tonight is to give some hope to those persons who are listening. First of all, I want our guests to give just a little background of how did you get here and where you are today. Just 2 or 3 minutes. And why don't we start, ladies first? Why don't we start with Kat?
Thanks, Jordan. Hi, I'm Kath, alcoholic. I got sober in I got sober the 24th of April in 1983. It was just after my 18th birthday. And I just, I was so lost and alone and really felt so not connected with anybody or anything. And, just reading over this step 5, just brought me back to that feeling of, when it talks about isolation and not having any contact with people and, feeling so alone. And it just resonated with me because that's how I felt. I felt alone and ashamed and, like I couldn't talk to anybody. And if I had a problem, I was supposed to just deal with it. And that was, not how my mother used to say to me. She used to say, Kathleen, most people suffer in silence. Like, I'm not having any of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that is one thing that I believe is so devastating to individuals, especially if you are in a certain environment or of a certain profession.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In my second book, and you all know that I'm a pastor by profession, and I'm going to be going to Baltimore the end of this month, and I'm going to be talking to a myriad of ministers about how many people in the pews in churches are suffering in silence for one reason or another. I think that's the worst thing in the world that can happen to anyone, is to be suffering in silence and feel as though you can't tell anybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Kat. How did you get here? How did you get sober? What happened?
I had started school, started at a university, and I was like, oh, thank God I can drink like I want to drink. And I did drink like I wanted to drink. And it was mostly binge drinking because I thought if I showed up for classes and I did the work, during the weekend when I could have a drink, I would have a drink. But, I'd have one and then another and another. And I became a blackout drinker. And, when that was going on, I'd always ask people, "Oh, I hope I didn't do anything," and they were like, "No, but you were so drunk and this and that." And of course, I went to the bookstore to find out how to drink right, because I always thought there was a way that somebody could drink right. And I had asked my friend who was a daily drinker. I said, when I went to this concert on Cape Cod, we went to this concert, The Clash, and I said to her, what happens when you black out and you can't remember anything? And she goes, "Oh, you get used to that." And I was like, okay. So I thought I was going to get used to it, but I never got used to it. And I just found myself in jam after jam after jam. And it just made me feel even more lonely and unable to connect with people, because I just felt like there was something wrong with me because of, I wasn't drinking every day, but when I drank, I would black out.
So what happened? What happened that you finally got sober? I mean, did your mom come against you? Was it your dad or was?
No. It was brought up that I had an issue. I was assaulted at school and somebody saw it. And so, of course, my parents had to be notified because I was under 18. And they came to school and talked with the people who are in charge of everything. And they told me, well, if you get into a diabetics support group, that'll help you. And since I've been a diabetic since the age of 5, I was like, okay, well, let me do this. And, having diabetes and drinking do not mix. It was just a nightmare. And I'd end up in a lot of times at the hospital, or, being picked up by an emergencies. So, and of course, that never looks good on some Irish Catholic from Boston.
Okay. So it sounds to me like your medical condition, along with drinking, kind of forced you into that.
Yeah.
Let's tell us a little bit about yourself, about how did you get clean and sober?
Thank you.
Get into recovery. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I was one of those, and this is subject to debate, I guess. I was one of those functional addicts. And I didn't know I was an addict. All my life I had been using ever since the age of 13. I've been using some minor mood altering substance. But because I had the ability to stop anytime I wanted to, and I did the binge thing too, I wasn't an everyday user ever on anything. Because I had the ability to stop, I didn't think I really had a problem. And I had in my mind, I had a definition of an addict similar to what they have in our basic text in the program of Narcotics Anonymous. I think about the street level addict, that's out there using every day and doing, all the things to get. And that wasn't my story. I was an overachiever all my life. I made great grades in school. Went in the military with the intent of making a career out of it, and I did that. Stayed 26 years and retired as a command sergeant major, which is the highest rank as enlisted man that you can retire at. And all the time I was using something, man. So, but because I had this illusion of control, and because I could stop, and I would stay stopped for months. Months. I thought I had it under control. So in my mind, I wasn't an addict. That didn't even cross my mind that I was an addict. I was just someone that I worked hard, and I like to, celebrate. I like to not get the edge off, And so that's what it was in my mind. That was my denial was so deep, man.
So what was it that brought you to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous?
That final run, when I crossed a line that was no longer invisible.
Mm-hmm.
See, when what my pattern was is when I did decide to go out and get the edge off, my pattern was I'd go out with a pocket full of money.
Mm-hmm.
The dope boys would roll the carpet out. I'd get my own room set up, and they wouldn't let nobody touch me because they knew I was going to spend a whole lot of money.
Really?
Okay. Because I was a realtor, and when I first started doing crack, and I was highly successful in that, and realtor of the year, 5 years in a row, and all that kind of stuff. I was making more money than I ever saw in my entire life.
Right.
But I was wide open in addiction and didn't know it. And this last time, what happened was I promised myself that I was going to break that pattern. And the pattern is go out there with a pocket full of money, spend every dime, start hitting the teller machine until the fraud protection cut me off, and then I pawned my car.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that was the end.
So I had promised myself. And Dr. Bosch, I don't know about you, but I still got some things inside of me. I promised to myself.
Mm-hmm.
I held myself at such a standard. You understand?
I understand.
That I was like, I'm not going to violate this. And I've been accustomed to living up to my word and being able to do what I said I was going to do. And this time I couldn't. So when the girl woke me up and told me they had crashed my car, I came face to face with the reality of my disease.
You had loaned someone your car?
Yeah, I pawned it to the dope man.
I see.
That was the pattern.
Okay, that was it. That was it. Okay. All right. Well, I got you. I got you now. I got you right now. I got you.
That was the pattern.
All right. We've got a diabetic alcoholic and an overachiever dope fiend. I mean, not only overachiever, in denial addict.
Yeah.
Whose car got messed up and his whole bankroll is gone. All right. And now he wakes up from the dream and the girl tells him, your car is gone. All right. Nicole, you are our co-host. And I think that you might be able to identify with one or both of them in some type of way. Anything you want to add to that?
I identify with both of them. I was also a binge drinker. I could put it down for months at a time, which kind of prevented me from being able to make the connection for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I had an idea in my head too about what a drinker looked like or an alcoholic looked like. I got sober early, people say, because I had like a life event. I had a child that it was quickly becoming obvious that I was not going to be able to care for in the way that he needed to be cared for. And I had a moment of clarity looking into his room one night that I did not want him to grow up like I did.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I ended up in the rooms.
Okay. So how old was your child then?
He was 2.
2 years of age. That's the same age my son was when I came in.
Yeah.
And I came in. I was just beaten. But my wife is the one who conducted an intervention in my life on Friday, October the 13th, 1988. And I went into treatment. Ever since then, matter of fact, well, she did something that I told her not to do.
Imagine that.
In fact, I told her that I would kill her if she told the bishop that I was using drugs, and she did that. That you see that hand there? Did you see that thing? Did you see that hand? That was the hand that got me into treatment. the hand of my wife. I thank God for that because I know a lot about suffering in silence, being a pastor,
Mhm.
and hiding my addiction, not knowing. Even though I had a lot of education from the schools,
Mhm.
I was ignorant as far as what addiction actually was.
Mhm.
And I know that there are a lot of people in the listening audience, a lot of people out there, as has been mentioned, don't believe that we were addicts or
Mhm.
alcoholics. It was somebody else. Okay, now here we are. Before we even talk about the fifth step, I want to just pose this question to some persons who may not understand what the steps are about. I want to ask the question, what do the steps have to do with your sobriety and your recovery? Why are we even talking about the steps? What makes them important? Les, why don't you jump off with that?
Okay. They're important because the steps are a designed way of living. And the program, the 12-step programs are proven. These are proven programs that hundreds of thousands, millions of people
Mhm.
all over the world have plugged into and followed these steps, and their lives have changed and improved. So that's why they're important. The steps are everything.
Okay.
Steps are
All right.
everything.
Anybody else want to give a comment? Why are we talking about the steps? What makes them so important?
Well, I just found them to be very directive, as in, showing a way out of the complete hell I was in the sense of where there was a process, and it would, that there, one step at a time, and they'd always say one day at a time, and the process of learning to live another way, which I wasn't familiar at all with, that there could be another way to live besides drinking. I just knew that that was the answer to my problems. And when I got sober, I was like, now what? And the steps were a way to become the type of person I wanted to be, and achieve the things I wanted to do. And I just felt like they were, a way out of the lifestyle and thinking that I was surrounded by.
In this fifth step, um, we're actually exposing ourselves to another human being. Okay, it says we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. One of the things that this step it says in this basic textbook, and that is that the individual that we choose to bear our soul to um, should be an individual, number one, that we trust them. It says only complete confidence in the person's integrity and discretion can make us willing to be thorough in this step. Whereas we are actually exposing our fourth step, which is about our life, our fearless moral inventory of ourselves. And that's, if you actually think about that, um, we have to be in a certain mindset to sit down and in confidence tell someone else all about ourselves, the good and the bad. How did you do that? Can you remember when you did this fifth step? And who did you do it with? Les?
Yeah, I remember very well. First time around, it was my sponsor, you
All
know,
right.
and we had, and I
Tell them
thank
who a
God.
sponsor. Tell them who a sponsor is.
Okay, a sponsor is someone that guides you through the program. Someone that has a working knowledge of the program, first of all, and that are living it.
Yes.
Okay. Um, the 12 steps, the 12 concepts, and the 12 traditions rather, and the 12 service concepts. and someone who is it that attracts you, that you're attracted to, that has what something you think you want. And I guess in other arenas it would be like a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's who a
Yes.
sponsor is. But I shared it with my sponsor.
Do you remember where you were when you shared it?
Yeah, I was in his office, in his home.
Okay.
That's where we do our step work at. He's got an office there in his home, and that's where we do step work.
How did you feel, if you can remember back doing this? You had done step work, the previous 4 steps with this individual? You felt comfortable? Did you feel afraid? How'd you feel?
I felt raw. I felt like a bundle of nerves, but I was so excited to get it done.
Yes.
Because thus far, every step that I've worked up until that point had benefited me greatly, as far as giving me some freedom from that prison I'd been in all my life. You got to understand, unlike I wasn't smart enough like you guys to come in here at an early age. I was 60 years old when I got here. Do the math. Sure? I started.
Okay.
60.
You don't look like you could be that
almost 61. I was 3 months shy of 61 years old when I got here.
Okay.
It'll be 13 years the 9th of this month.
Oh.
So that means you got to be at least 39.
Yeah. At least.
At least. Yeah. All right.
Be 74 this year.
Wonderful. That's the age I am now, and I came in when I was 41.
Yeah.
I
was too smart for the program.
Yeah. Well, I think that based upon what I've seen, we have a lot of people who are coming in at an earlier age now. What do you think, Nicole?
Yeah, I would say we do have a lot of younger people coming in. And I think that's, in our book, in the story section, there's like a chapter for people that come in earlier and don't have to reach quote unquote the bottom. And so I think we're in this process of redefining what a bottom is. We're in this process of redefining what a relationship with alcohol looks like. You don't have to be homeless living under a bridge to have a problem with alcohol. And I think that's becoming more apparent.
Yes.
And
I also believe that people are more aware today of what addiction is and what alcoholism is.
Yes.
It's more out in the open.
I think too, the younger generation, I don't know. I know my generation, I can't speak for any other generation, but we are very, very curious about what it is, what it is we're doing and how it affects us. And so, I'm a journalist and I love to research, and all of my friends, journalists or not, love to research and find stuff out. And we know what alcohol is. It's poison. And we are kind of questioning the status quo. Why is it this thing that's literally poison for our bodies being touted as the solution to stress, anxiety, parenting, hard times, whatever? So I think there's a lot of questioning going on.
Yeah. I just want to speak to the persons who are listening now. If you have a comment or you have a question, put it in the chat, put it in the comment section, and we'll try our best to answer the question. Kat, can you remember when you did your first 5th step and who you did it with and where you were?
Yes, it was. I was a member of the Gates of Hell step group in the Boston area, and
did you say the Gates of Hell?
The Gates of Hell step group.
Did you say health or hell?
Hell, the Gates of Hell step group.
Wow.
So, and I had done it with the woman who was my sponsor at the time, and it was, for me, it just brought up a lot of stuff that I felt so ashamed about, and being able to be honest with my sponsor, who was my sponsor at the time, and like I had a weight off my back. I really, really had so much shame and so much regret, and it was just a good thing that I did that, because I was judging myself so much from my past, and not even bringing in any of the good stuff, which was helpful for me to get some kind of balance, was to see where I lacked and what were the reasons. They say be honest about what you're doing, and it showed me a number of patterns I had been in since I was like a small child, and that they protected me, but they were also disastrous.
You mentioned the word honest. In the textbook here, it says that in this step, we are told that if we keep these defects inside of us, they'll lead us back to using. And so honesty is if it says if we are not honest when we take a fifth step, we will have the same negative results that dishonesty brought us in the past.
Yeah. It's just working through the shame. There's so much shame involved with alcoholism and addiction, and just being able to be honest with another human being, and being honest with yourself. I know for me, it was a real wake-up call.
Yeah.
When I was being honest with myself, and I said, what are these behaviors coming from? And and as you said, it's like, if you don't work on or be honest about them, you can't really deal with them, and you fall into that denial stuff that just keeps, is a constant in, even in sobriety. I mean, the constant of being in denial, it doesn't stop with getting sober, but getting honest and learning to live as an honest human being is really, it's not as terrible as it sounds.
Yeah. But it reminds me of going to the doctor's office. You have a problem, and you're sitting in the doctor's office in the waiting room, and then you go in to see the doctor, and there's another little room over to the left, to the side, and the doctor says, "Well, I understand what your problem is. Go in there, take off all your clothes, and come back." They don't give you a gown. Just take off all your clothes. I mean, haven't you been there? Take off all your clothes, come back, and come back. And I think the most embarrassing situation that I ever had was I started to say for a hysterectomy, but it wasn't a hysterectomy. I was going for a prostate check. Prostate check. And I
Pia back there.
And what did you say, Nicole?
I said, is Pia losing it back there?
Yeah. The hand. Okay. And so what happened was, when I went to the office, I had never seen this doctor before, and I thought the doctor was a man. And I'm sitting in this room waiting. They told me to wait in this examining room, and the doctor came in with this white, and she was, it was a female, a white female. And I looked at her and I said, "You're the doctor?" She says, "Yes." She says, "Pull your pants down." Turn around, pull your pants down. So I pulled my pants down. She said, "Your underwear too?" I can't. And I'm saying, "Oh my goodness." A strange woman. I don't know her, but she's the one who's going to give me what I need, or at least show me what's going on. So she examined me, and that was it. I think that when, the basic textbook here says that when we do a fifth step, only complete confidence in the person's integrity and discretion
No,
can make us willing to be thorough in this step. To be thorough, we have to have confidence. I had confidence in her, but I thought it wouldn't be a her. I thought it would have been a him. But she came to do a job. And I think that's what the person who we expose ourselves to mentally, spiritually, and emotionally in this step, we have to trust them to give us some good results of the examination. Because we've done the exam, we have done the examination, but we're expecting them to give us feedback. Nicole, how important is feedback from this fifth step?
I think it's hugely important. I think we've proven to ourselves at that point over and over again that left to our own devices, we're not really getting very far. So I needed feedback from someone who knew me as well as they knew me at that point, understood the disease that I was facing, and had experience in sobriety. And my sponsor did a really great job of instilling confidence and trust in me by listening without judgment and also sharing her own experience. You know, she shared some of the things that she had done, and she didn't need to do that. But she did, and it made me feel less alone, and it made me feel like, okay, if she's done these things and she is where she is today, then there's hope that I can get there too.
Yes, good. It's a cleaning house experience.
Yeah.
When I did the fifth step with my sponsor, there was something that I knew I wasn't going to put. I didn't put it in my fourth step.
Yeah.
I didn't put it in there. No, I didn't put it in my fourth step because I'm going to read my fourth step. But that's doing the fifth step is by sharing the fourth step with a sponsor.
Oh, you were going to circumvent the system.
Well, I wasn't going to. Okay, we'll talk about that later, Nicole. Anyhow, I wasn't. There was one thing that I was not going to put in my fourth step to share with. You know, the directions say in the fourth step that you write it without thinking about the fifth step. But that's like getting married without thinking about what's going to happen in the ceremony. You know, so but what happened was I did the fifth step in my office, and my sponsor came in, but before he came into my office, he was in the outer office. I wrote, like in small letters, I wrote it down, and you know what I didn't want to give. And when I went over and when I presented my fourth step to him in the fifth step, he never said anything at all about it. And I think one of the things it says in this fifth step is don't beat yourself up too much on anything that you've done. You think we can do that, Les? Is that possible for us to beat ourselves up?
Yes, it's possible to, like my sponsor say, put the bat down and use the feather.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I had to do that because of my mindset and having that perfectionism as one of my glaring defects of character. I have to be perfect, you know. So I held myself to unrealistic standards, man, expectations that I posed upon myself my entire life until I got here and started working through these steps and realized that, number one, because I understood on the intellectual and the conceptual way that I couldn't be perfect as a human being, but there was something in me that kept saying you supposed to be, or feeling as if you supposed to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But thank God for these steps I was able to, and so I don't beat myself up now. And if I catch me beating me, okay, if I catch me beating me, I'll stop, take a deep breath, look at my feet, recognize where I am in this moment.
Yeah.
Let it
Yes.
go.
Yes. Yes. You know, I don't. I think that the relevance of what I'm getting ready to say can only come with maturity. When I was in the ninth grade, and no one ever told me that when you're in the ninth grade and go to high school, that when you go to gym, that they don't have separate showers. They didn't tell me that when you go take a shower, everybody's in there, all of the men are in there together. They didn't tell me that. And so that was an emotional surprise for me. And I think that might be similar to exposing yourself to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs, exactly what it is. But I think that the benefit and the positive part of having a person to listen to you who is not going to be judgmental can make you feel somewhat at ease, especially when they come back and share with you, like Nicole was saying, some things that they have done that let me know I'm not so unique. What do you think? What do you think, Kat?
I just find that, and I see that in all of society, that we're kind of, tools are thrown at us that we're supposed to be doing this, that, and the other thing, but we don't know how to use them. And it's so important to, learn how to use the tools and learn how to use what we look like. I know, I was told I had to do this, this, and this my whole life, and nobody showed me how to do that. And in sobriety, it's like people were able to show me how to reach the next level by giving me the support I needed. And I see that in a lot of what's with just these expectations, like Les was saying, just all these expectations, but no direction.
Yeah.
And that's that, I mean, it's scary to go try to learn something, but it's scary to be trying to learn something when no one gives you the directions.
Yeah. Let me throw something out, and anyone can get this. What do you believe is the greatest benefit of the fifth step? The greatest benefit of becoming naked in front of another human being, expressing it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being. What is the greatest testimony, the greatest takeaway from doing that?
Freedom.
Okay. Explain it. Explain that, Les.
I don't have to carry it any longer. I don't have to hide it any longer. I don't have to be concerned if somebody's going to find out. And I can release it. And when I share it with God, and God already knows, at least the God that I believe in already knows, but to be able to look up and just share and say, God, here's what it is. And then to look another human being in the eye and tell them, I can't be shamed by it any longer.
Yeah. Loretta Wilson, Loretta has given a comment. She says, can you all see that?
Yeah.
As we are reminded in 12-step recovery literature, as long as there have been people, addiction has existed.
Yeah.
And even though we're basically talking about drugs and alcohol, some of us, I know none of you all, some of us can transfer our addiction to another area of our lives, another area of my life. I know that you all don't have that problem, but mine is fried chicken and cookies, popcorn, fried chicken, cookies, popcorn. All right. All right. Why are you laughing, Les?
My fiance just said, sounds like I got a brother.
Really? Okay. All right. I may not use a drink or a drug, but I have to specifically hold myself and not go to Popeyes because Popeyes has the best fried chicken. All right. And
Are they paying you for this?
what did you say?
Are they paying you, giving you money for advertising them?
No. But I've never seen anybody, on their death certificate died from a fried chicken leg. But I do know that fried foods, cholesterol, heart disease, and I'm suffering from that now. So when she talks about addiction has been with us even before we didn't know it existed. I mean, when I first started smoking marijuana, let me back up. Cigarettes came before marijuana. I had no idea that I was going to become addicted. And I had no idea that 55 years later, I would have eczema from that. Okay. All right. Question has come up. Do you have to do the 5th step more than once?
Always. That's, something that's always changing over the years. I think, I know that sometimes, a lot of times they'll have retreats where you do a house cleaning. And, it's important to always be on guard for the stuff that you is going to come between you and your sobriety. I mean, I know that a lot of people, find, over the years that they just have something that's more important than their sobriety and, family or, something. And I know for me, I need a clean house to be ready for what's ever going to come at me.
Yes.
And, a lot of stuff has come at me over the years, and I just, the whole thing of trying to clean house and, take care of my responsibilities it's so vital.
Well, I think that the 10th step is valuable here.
Yeah.
Because the 10th step says we continue to take personal inventory. When we were wrong, promptly admitted it. And my sponsor let me know that's important to do a 10th step every day. I do it every evening when I'm in my prayer time before I go to bed. Did I do anyone any wrong today? You see, in other words, in simple vernacular, it's easier to keep my house clean than it is to get my house clean.
Yeah, most definitely.
See, it's easy. I think it's easier to stay sober than it is to get sober. It's easier to stay clean than it is to get clean. What do you think about that, Les?
Absolutely. It's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing process, and the literature in the 12-step program I'm in tells us that we practice. Okay. That we practice. It doesn't say anything about perfect master. Okay? We don't master. Yeah. We don't become fully competent at any of this. So the steps are an ongoing process that I have to live every day, applying these spiritual principles in all my affairs.
Yes.
Listen, let me just say this, Basha, please.
Go
my
ahead.
best friend, One of my best friends, my spiritual mentor who passed last year, used to put it this way, and he had 50-something years clean. He said, Les, he said, we celebrate, but we don't graduate.
Really? All right. All right. All right. Our producer, who just happens to be my wife, Pia Jordan, she says it's easier to keep up rather than to catch up.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about the ketchup that's in the bottle that you shake out.
Mhm.
It's easier to keep up than to catch up. All right. As we get ready to come to a close, today, what can we say to the individuals who are listening? The benefits of this step, the benefits of recovery, the benefits of sobriety. In 2 minutes or less. Kat, why don't you go first, and then Les, then Nicole.
Okay. Well, I just was going to say that never give up. Sometimes we see people who come to the meetings who are not sober or who are not clean, but I think that they need to come back. No matter what, keep coming back, because I've known people who for 10 years they kept going in and out and in and out, and then one day it hit them, it got them. And I just really encourage people to keep coming, keep showing up. So that's, that's the way I've been able to stay sober, is keep showing up even after all these years.
And you just celebrated 39 years last Friday, right?
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Great. Les, what words of encouragement, what words of hope do you have for the person who's listening today?
Yeah. First of all, the fifth, thank you so much for the opportunity. And this fifth step is so important. Our secrets keep us sick.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They keep us sick. So in the words of Narcotics Anonymous, I say it like this: an addict, any addict, can stop using drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. Our message is hope, promise of freedom, and the freedom is from that self-imposed prison that rests right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a way out. We found that way. Thanks.
Yeah. Before we get to Nicole, I was in a meeting last night. The meeting was in New Jersey. I was in St. Pete, but I was still in New Jersey with this meeting. And during the course of the meeting, I was talking about anonymity, and I said that I quoted the 12 traditions of anonymity as the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personality. But I was talking about how what my outreach does and how I try to help as many people as possible. And I made a statement. I said it's impossible to do a 12th step and remain anonymous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, it was about 49 people in that meeting. And after I got finished sharing, some people came back and was telling me how, we don't want to be violating traditions and all that sort of thing. And then I also thought, when I go to the doctor, when I go to the hospital and have an operation, it's impossible for me to maintain my anonymity and tell the doctor that I'm an addict, so they won't give me something.
Oh yeah.
You with me? So I don't want it to be confused, because it said after having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry the message to addicts and alcoholics and practice these principles in all our affairs. And I honestly and truly believe that having had a spiritual awakening, that the spirit inside of us will let us know when to break our anonymity to help somebody else. You don't just go around with a sign on saying, I'm a member of AA, I'm a member of a sign, flag. Yeah. No.
Sticker.
But when you come across somebody who needs some help,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
if I've been in a hole and I got out, and then I'm living my life happy, joyous, and free, and pass by a hole, and I see another person down in that hole and saying, "Help!
Mm-hmm.
Somebody help me!"
Yeah.
And I jump down in the hole with him, and I say, "Brother, I'm gonna show you the way out." If he asks me, "How do you know?" I can't say, "Excuse me," but I got to maintain my anonymity.
Yeah.
I got to show him how to get out and tell him how I know that. Well, I guess that's my little soapbox. Nicole, come on, you can take us out.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, give somebody some hope, Nicole.
I guess my hope for today is we're talking about step 5, and for new people out here, it might feel daunting and scary. But I can say from experience that step 5 is the first time that I really felt like I got to know myself
Mm-hmm.
and had a way to move forward. And I didn't feel great after step 5 because my denial was strong. But that didn't matter because I had a way forward for what felt like the first time. And so, there's a lot of hope in knowing that you can continue to move forward and grow.
Mm-hmm.
And step 5 in the program gives us that opportunity.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's like taking a spiritual bath.
Yeah.
You don't have to carry it with you.
Yeah.
I believe Loretta had a statement here. She says the benefits today, securing the love of the fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
I can finally look another human being in the eye and be grateful for who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Loretta. I mean, that's to look somebody in the eye and be grateful, not be ashamed of your past, not trying to hide it. Thank you all for being here this evening.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for giving your hope. I'm Dr. Jordan. They call me the Hope Doctor. If you'd like to send a donation to our outreach, you can send it to one of the prompts there on the screen right now. We are Hope Alive Outreach. Our Cash App is the $, the Hope Doctor. Or you can send us a check, whatever you want, however you want to do this. All of the donations go toward giving persons hope. And if you want to go to our website is hopealiveoutreach.org, hopealiveoutreach.org. And on the website, you can see these 2 books. We have them on special this month. And also, if you want to get in contact with me, you can get in contact with me through one of the prompts on the screen. prophetbasha@aol.com is my email address, and my phone number 443-250-9635. Well, I'm Dr. Jordan. And remember, no matter what's going on with you today, there is hope for you. And don't forget, on our Facebook page, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, we do a dose of hope for you. Well, I'm the Hope Doctor. Have a great day.